to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast, and we are looking at a pretty big slate tonight, Nate, on a Friday night in the NBA. In this video, we're going to go ahead and look at the Knicks taking on the Toronto Raptors in Canada. Make sure you do check out Nate's great article up on playpicks.com. Some best bets and player props in there for you. And like and subscribe to that page, as we've got a couple other videos for you up today, including our player props video that we love to bring you each and every day. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, the Knicks holding pretty steady at plus 1.5 on the road here, and the total has dropped a little bit. I just saw it at 207.5, now 208 at some spots, but it's pretty low total given how the Knicks have been playing lately. We'll come back to that. Real quick, let's look at the other games on this big Friday night. We got the Kings +1 at Hornets, Mavs +2 at Pacers, Brooklyn Nets +2 at the Hawks, and we're going to break that one down for you in a separate video. The Bucks are -8.5 against the Red Hot Rockets. The Lakers -5 at the Thunder. Cavs are -1 at the Wolves. Pistons +6 at the Pelicans, and the Celtics +5 at those Suns. Yeah, 207, 208 definitely seems low for this game. These teams have combined for 220 the last two times they've met, including earlier this season. And it's an interesting trend. I mean, we'll talk about the Knicks and what they've done to shake up their offense. But for the Raptors, I was surprised to see how bad their defense has been since getting Pascal Siakam back. I mean, maybe they just early in the season, fueled by doubters or whatever, they came out and they played so well. I mean, and an injury to OG Anunoby has certainly played a role in this, that it's kind of coincided with Siakam's return, but their defensive rating jumped from 105 to 115 with him. And they're 4-10 straight up with Siakam versus 7-4 without him. They've gone over in 7 of their last 12 since he's been back, but I think there's definitely some exceptions to find for the under here, including, the Bucks resting Giannis on a back-to-back, the Wizards who struggle to score on the road, the Grizzlies who struggle to score on the road and did not have John Morant, and the Celtics who are the number one defense on the road and kind of held the Raptors in check there and also struggled a little bit on offense themselves. When you just look at normal rest, the Raptors are 9-6 to the over. And when you look at what these teams do against each other, both like to get those high percentage shots in the paint, unassisted 2-point field goals. The Raptors are third. The Knicks are fifth. And in the last 2 weeks, we're talking here. And the Thunder are actually second in that department, not playing team ball at all. But they came into Toronto and won 110-109, adding to Toronto's awful against the spread record at home. 3-10 is the worst in the NBA. With no Khem Birch and no Precious Achiuwa tonight, you're going to have to play Siakam and Boucher a lot against Julius Randle, who has at least 22 points in 3 straight against the Raptors. They have RJ Barrett back. He has at least 19 in 3 straight against the Raptors. So I think the Knicks are going to be able to score here, as they have done over their last 6. 6 of their last 7 have gone over, and they're still getting sort of priced in the total department as if they're this grit and grind team that we saw last year. As if they just can't score. But as we know, especially since they took Kemba Walker out of the rotation, they have been able to score. And surprisingly, they've been even worse on defense.
Yeah, when Kemba got taken out of the rotation 6 games ago, that's sort of where you start with this Knicks team to look at what they've been doing since then. It hasn't been great. Kind of already mentioned some of what's been going on with them since Kemba was out, 2-4 in that time. Their, as you mentioned, offensive rating goes up. And their defensive rating goes down. So obviously over in 6 of their last 7, even though they're still playing at about the second slowest pace in that time, they're still giving up a bunch of points and scoring them, mostly through at this point, trying to dribble and drive. You look at who's been scoring for them since Kemba went out on offense, and it's a lot of Alec Burks coming into play now, and then obviously Julius Randle, who's struggling compared to last season. He's in the 6 since Kemba's been out. He's only averaging about 20 points in that time. which, they need him to be closer to 23, 24, even 25 for them to be, somewhat of a quality offense. But I think you can find some value in both Alec Burks and RJ Barrett. I know, you might be considering going and looking at some of the bigs for the Knicks tonight. And I am looking at Julius Randle as well. That's where I would start my player props. But I do also like the fact that Alec Burks' prop is pretty low for his points right now. At just about, I believe it's about 15.5 right now, which feels really good when he's, scoring, actually it's 14.5, which is great. He's scoring 18.8 a game since Kemba went out, chucking about 6 threes a game. He's actually hitting 38% of his threes, which is why he's able to keep his scoring up there. And Julius Randle in his last 2 seasons since he's come to the Knicks, playing against the Raptors, he's got some pretty good numbers as well, averaging 24 a game on 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and that's in four contests against the Raptors since he came to the Knicks, like I said. And his points tonight is still at about 19, which I would feel really good about. Or adding those because of the fact that you've got Kem Birch, Precious Achua both out. For the Raptors tonight, you consider that Julius Randle should be able to get points and boards. It's at 26.5, or excuse me, 28.5 for him tonight. Points and boards combined. And I'd feel really good about that as well. I think the total is where you go here. I don't know what's going to happen. The Raptors have covered 8 straight against the Knicks as of late. And it's a team that I feel like they've always historically had trouble with, honestly. And it's why I don't really want to touch the line tonight. That doesn't help me considering, that this is a 1-point spread at this point. And I would focus more on points for certain players, especially since you've got a couple of those big guys out and OG still out for the Raptors. A couple of the other guys, obviously Fred VanVleet and Siakam, you expect to do some scoring tonight, because I do think that we can get over 208 in this game. Expect this closer to, about a 110, 112 affair. For these two teams who, are not playing a lick of defense right now, for either of them, but still able to put up points against each other. When you mention what they don't do well, specifically the Raptors, we both really started to eye the stat of even they play at a pretty fast pace considering the amount of points that they get off turnovers and fast break points. The Knicks are turning the ball over a good amount as well. So you got to feel good, about the Raptors getting some easy points there, especially if they're going to go small against the Knicks, who are still going to get, Mitch Rob into the rotation as well. So, I think there's some opportunity for some, what each team does well on offense is sort of a weakness on defense for the other.
Yeah, it's 8 straight that the Raptors have covered at home against the Knicks, but these Knicks have been better on the road lately, particularly in the scoring department. We just saw them go over pretty handily in San Antonio in a loss.
No, they won that game. They lost. They got blown out by the Pacers next game.
Right, yeah.
It's the East that they struggle
Right,
against.
it's a classic win-lose situation. They haven't won back-to-back games since October. Thank you for that. Yeah, so the Knicks, not a team to back on in terms of winning tonight, but certainly one to bank on in terms of scoring and giving up. It's stunning to see a Thibodeau team giving up 50 paint points over their last 5 games. And then you look at the Raptors, obviously they're not going to do much to stop you down low with all those guys out. Anunoby, I would expect a bigger discrepancy with him out. The defensive rating only rises by 2, but I think over a larger sample, they just can't really guard without him. He's one of the best wing defenders in the league. And with RJ Barrett back, that's great news for the Knicks offense. And with the Knicks struggling to guard the 3-point line as well, you mentioned Fred VanVleet and company. They're going to be hoisting from deep. So if a few of those shots go down, then Toronto will absolutely help you get over here.
Yeah, 100%. RJ is going to be big for them too. He's really big for them on defense for sure. But you've also got to look at what he's been doing on offense in specifically the splits versus their wins and their losses. When they win, RJ averages closer to 19 points a game. When they lose, he's down closer to about 14. So it's not, there's the score that they need, because there is talk about them if they want to compete this year at all, which I'm not feeling great about it. But if they wanted to compete and get back to around a 4 seed in the East, they're going to need another offensive weapon. And to be honest, it would be nice if they could find that and just have it already in RJ Barrett, which is what they're banking on. And if he doesn't pan out that way for them, then his career in New York is going to be short-lived as well, because they need some wing scoring at this point. And I think they'll be able to get theirs tonight, like we said. So Jay Randall for sure, someone I'm going to eye to get his in the paint and get some boards tonight, and then just that total for sure. So anyway, that is all the time we have for this one, y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe to the page, as we got another couple of videos up for you, including that player props one where we will be giving a gift card away. So until we see you next, happy betting.